Hello, everyone. We are covering Classic X-Men number 5. It is titled My Brother, My Enemy, and we open with Charles Xavier having a nightmare of an alien starship and an enormous alien space battle. And in this space battle, we see one lone bug-like ship make its way out, and they are coming closer and closer. He can almost see the person inside, an alien insect-like face, and he screams to wake up. And I do enjoy this little moment here where they have Xavier with the bar above his bed, making acknowledgments that, so often we forget that Xavier, being handicapped, would have difficulties like that and how he would deal with it. We see him trying to pour his coffee and nearly spilling it. Moira McTaggart is helping him, and she's saying that even though he's having trouble, she is there to help. We cut to Havoc and Polaris. That is Alex Summers, who is Cyclops' brother, and Lorna Dane, who is a mutant, sometimes the daughter of Magneto. They are living out in the desert, and he is trying to become a geologist. He's trying to get his final dissertation, something which he never quite manages to do. But when she opens the door, she thinks he's forgotten something. But no, she sees someone else. She says, "No, it can't be you," when she is blasted and falls to the ground. We see Havoc. He is walking out, and he's calling out, "I love Lorna Dane," and how happy he is out here. But as his memories go back to the X-Men, he fires his plasma blast, which is not unlike Cyclops's, but is less controlled and more destructive, though his he can turn off. When he hears a blast and a scream, he runs back to Lorna, and he sees her pulling out a new costume. And he asks her what's going on, and she says, "The costume is mine, Alex Summers, as is the power of Polaris, mistress of magnetism, the power of death." The mysterious figure that first attacked her says, "You did not kill him, child. Good. He will be useful in our objective." We cut to the airport, and we see that Charles Xavier is going to take a vacation. He really, really needs it. But as they are taking this vacation, they're interrupted by Polaris coming and attacking Jean Grey, she and Havoc. Cyclops is, of course, asking what in the world they are doing, and they say that they are here to get Xavier. Very smartly, the two pilots, seeing the combat, decide, you know what, let's just take off. And that's pretty smart. We get a cool action transformation as Nightcrawler goes out of his image inducer. Colossus turns into his armored form, and they go to help. But even as they are making their way, Havoc is about to blast the plane that has Xavier on it. Nightcrawler is able to jump and knock him down. The blast goes wild and destroys a much larger plane. Fortunately, it was not occupied. The smaller plane is able to take off, just barely. But through the flames, we see a figure called Eric the Red. And Cyclops says, "You can't be Eric the Red. I was Eric the Red." And in an earlier story, Cyclops pretended to be a supervillain called Eric the Red, and he doesn't know why this person is dressed like his former alter ego, but he tells the X-Men to take him down. They are finding that is somewhat problematic. Havoc gets a moment of himself back. He blasts Eric the Red, but Eric the Red simply grabs him by the neck, uses hypno rays, and puts him back under his control. Storm is trying to take Jean to safety. Remember that she was knocked down earlier. Polaris is able to fly as well, and she blasts Storm. Now they are both falling. Storm is only just able to catch Jean Grey before she is killed. Storm has had quite enough of this. She transforms into her superhero costume. Havoc is telling him that his mind is not his own, that he can't fight it, and he blasts forward. Cyclops is keeping him off balance and knocking him down. Now, later on, it will be absolutely canon that their two powers negate one another, but that's clearly not quite the case at this time, because they're both trying not to hit each other. Havoc, however, hits a wall nearby, burying Cyclops, and even under his mind control, he manages to come to his senses enough to pull out Cyclops, where Cyclops knocks him unconscious for his own good. Nightcrawler and Colossus are fighting Eric the Red, and Eric the Red actually grabs Nightcrawler and throws him into Colossus, realizing the velocity will smash him to bits. However, Nightcrawler is able to teleport away, and he attacks him from below. Colossus attacks him from above, but both of their attacks are insufficient. Eric the Red throws Colossus into a plane, knocking the wing down and landing it on Colossus. But as we've seen before, Colossus is more than a match for even a devastating blow like that. And he pulls out the giant wheels of the plane and throws them at Eric the Red. Up above, we see a storm and magnetic fields combating as Polaris and Storm are fighting. Polaris is saying, well, I guess we'll have to call this game a draw. Storm, however, says, a game? Is that all this is to you? You attacked us without warning, without provocation. You sought our deaths, and innocents might have been slain by your attack. You dare call this a game? This is no game, Polaris. And she electrifies Polaris, who falls to the ground. Havoc cries out, curse you, Cyclops. If she's been hurt, I'll kill you, brother. I'll kill you all. And even though his mind is addled, he knows one thing, that he loves Lorna Dane. He grabs hold of them. Wolverine and Banshee are coming in with reinforcements, and Eric the Red decides to take a powder. He grabs hold of Lorna and Havoc and flies away. But Cyclops can't take the shot because he's too afraid that he'll kill his own brother. When Wolverine chastises him for not taking the shot, Cyclops backhands him. Wolverine pops his claws, and it's actually Storm who cows him by pointing her finger at him. And we see Wolverine actually cowed by Storm, which is a nice little moment. And in typical X-Men fashion, we see Stephen Lang of Project Armageddon watching them, but we also see yet another mysterious figure watching Stephen Lang watching the X-Men, which is such supervillain funniness, and we'll see more of that soon. But now we cut to the second story at the Brighton Beach in Brooklyn. We see Prison of the Heart, and we see young Cyclops, of course being a sensitive soul, he loves to draw. He is out drawing on the beach when he hears in Russian a woman yelling, "What are you doing? Let go of me!" And you see that she is being kidnapped by two ruffians. He jumps onto the car. The car is trying to pitch them off, but he realizes that soon the car is going to endanger others, and so he transforms into his armored form, punches through the ceiling. They try to shoot at him to no avail. And finally, they're going so erratic, they crash into the wall. They think that they've got him, only to see him lift up the car and destroy the engine. The two ruffians run away, both of them saying things in Russian, which of course he can understand, since Pyotr Rasputin is Russian. He sees a beautiful young girl who's been knocked unconscious. He shifts into his normal form, and he is greatly admired by the passers-by. One of the men earlier actually returns his sketchbook to him, and he comes back to find the woman still waiting. We find out her name is Anya Makarova. I'm sure I said that wrong. And we find out that she is a dancer, and he wants to know why these men are chasing her. He finds out that she is a well-known dancer and that she left Russia because she hated the restrictions and that she wanted to live her own life. And he's telling her that her heart may lead her to disaster, to which she replies, "No, the heart cannot lie. It looks into another's heart. It tells me who is true." And we get a montage of them spending time together, her performing at the opera, him waiting for her and waiting for her and waiting for her because she is the star. So, of course, lots of people want to talk to her. He has a present for her. It is a drawing of her in the opera. And they kiss, and their romance is going forward. As they are making their way out, clearly they've been walking all night long around in Brooklyn. And that's when, excuse me, a new man who was not there and therefore did not see his armored form comes to get her. He is pulling out a gun, and that's when Colossus turns into his armored form. She is shocked. He slaps them away, and they run. Of course, what are they going to do against Colossus? However, she is horrified, and she says, "What are you?" And he tells her, "A man." And she says, "A monster." And he's telling her that he's a mutant. And she says, "You lied to me, you deceived me, you pretended to be human, but you are not." And he asks her, "What does your heart say?" And she says, "My heart feels betrayed." And he says, "Will you deny the truth of our feelings, Anya? Look into my heart." And she says, "A man of steel has no heart." And we get completely silent final panel, except for one panel, as he picks up the drawing of her, sits, as an entire day passes. He tears up the picture, and in response to her statement that a man of steel has no heart, he simply says, "You are wrong." And that ends Classic X-Men number 5. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.